Hi, my name is Peter. I'm an overclocker, enthusiast overclocker exactly. I'm 15 enthusiast league. I'm 52nd in Global Masters. I'm using ambient cooling, so water cooling and air cooling to cool workstations because I'm an owner of a company which is building workstations. What I want to talk to you now and today is total shift in price of the computing power. Many people doesn't understand it because it is not forced by AMD to give this information. It is especially not given by Intel, which is trying hardly to stay at top and to stay in your head as a top company. But in fact, the shift is huge and tremendous. As I said, I'm building workstations. The main purpose of my workstations are almost always rendering. So rendering of animations and rendering of still images. The thing is that we have two main rendering engines, and today we will compare this Threadripper in those engines with other stuff. So the first off, we will compare what is exactly now at total max and total top. And right now in Corona we have 45.17 millions of rays with 4 8280L chips, 112 cores, 224 threads and over 1.5 terabyte memory. This machine is huge and it costs about $140,000. Okay, 130 or $40,000 depends from memory. And here we have a new score which is from December, and we have two EPIC 7702 processors. Those processors have two groups. And why? Because it's 8-channel memory. But what we can see from Threadripper, that Threadrippers will have single processor group, as they are for Windows 10 64-bit edition. The biggest single CPU group is 46 cores and it will be for Windows 10. So there is a huge shift. 64 cores, 128 threads, unlocked CPU, unlocked, with 4.3 boost. Well, for those chiplets which I have tested already, 4.3 gigahertz, it's not very complicated to achieve, and it doesn't really ask for a very high voltage as with previous Threadrippers. Right now 4.3 is achievable at 1.415 maybe volts per core. So we will say that there is a huge change in the even at the system. We are not paying $2,000 for multi CPU groups because we need Microsoft Windows Server. We are now using Windows 10. We are now being able to overclock it. We are now able to put it in a standard case. This is a huge change because you have to understand that servers for many different CPUs really costs a lot, from $3,000 to even several $1,000, like, or even tens of thousands, like 15, like many. So this is a huge change if we can just take a motherboard, put it in the case and put there a very nice PSU, which is very sufficient, like even 1300 or 1600 watt, and we will put there water cooling for another $1,000 or $2,000, and we will have totally silent, ultra efficient rendering machine. So what I'm saying, this is 45 million, this is 37 million, yes, epic, but now 38 almost. Now the scaling of Threadripper 3000 is enormous and great. We will have to see that, because this is 3960X. The record is now for about 14 million point one race, and but those are the highest possible achievable scores. But this 13.7 was made easily, really. So this was not ultra overclocked machine. And now if you see that this is 13.7, and you would like to guess what would be the efficiency of 3970X, you would take this 13.7, divide by 24 and multiply by 32. You would get 18.20, 18.26. And guess what? If you give it like that, you will see that it is almost true. This is almost true. So this is full scalability. So if we will now take this, because this is 17954 and this was my first score, and it was a record at the time, so it is the scaling is about 98 to 97%. Let's say it will not achieve 4.4 because it is locked to 4.3. Okay, let us give this CPU 95% of the scale. Yes. Now think about it. If you take this thing and multiply this by 2 and multiply it again by 0.95, you will get about 35 million rays. 35 million rays was first achieved 2 years ago with CPUs that were 8 CPUs in one platform or 4 CPUs in one platform, as you can see. So now we are talking about huge shift and huge change in pricing of computing power. It's please do understand what's the shift. Here we have $140,000, and right here about we will have $12,000. $2,000 CPU. Everyone who is saying that Threadripper 3990X is an expensive CPU is totally not knowing what this CPU is for, what the game is about, and how much does this kind of computing power cost or costed. What was the price even 4 months ago? So this is a huge change. Now, right now here is 12,000. Here is $140,000. It's those CPUs are very, very, very expensive. I would like to show you the price. I will check this price for you. And 81. Wait for it. 81. Nope. Well, I'm lost. Yeah, here it is. So we will see that this is $21,000. Okay, 21,000. So we have 4 like this, $80,000 it is at beginning, just right at the beginning, and we are getting here with the CPU which it costs $2,000. This is an enormous shift, and it will be just the same in here. If we say that here are AMDs and here is this is $30,000 server and this is $140,000 server. This is enormously heavy thing. Like you just need to try to understand what happened. This is enormously changing everything on the market of visualization and the possibilities of this. So you will not need extremely expensive server board and extreme server case and all the stuff to put 256 gigabytes of RAM. You will just put their standard board, standard case, nice water cooling. If you are able to regulate it, you will achieve enormous computing power with good cooling. So the shift is here, and what is really making Intel is giving its oldies in new box. So the new box is i9 10900XE. I don't really know what is this CPU about. This is 380 watt of stock TDP. This is something that is unreal because if it's at stock, so any big multi-core application will use 450-500 watt. So I really am curious what was this move all about, and I'm very happy that people on the net really understood what really happened. And please be aware, this is all marketing stuff. Yes, it's not about being best in something, because they might be a little bit better in SLI, where their drivers for this platform are better, and for NVIDIA they are better. But please be aware, we are already talking about 35 million raise for, let's say, this 3990X AMD Threadripper. Now let's go to i9 7980XE. We will see that this very nice score, even at 4.8, would be like 12 million. 12 million, what is 12.1 million? This is at 4.8, so quite high in overclocking, be aware. Now, divide this by 18 and multiply this by 22 and you will get 14.78 million raise. This is easily worse than 3970X. This is very similar to 3960X. This is not comparable to 3990X. So what is Intel doing? Intel is selling the old chips for high price, because it will be high price, for that kind of demands of cooling. You will not use this CPU in any way with I/O if you don't want it to throttle at any multi-core tasks. That's my opinion there. And please cherish the shift which is being made on the market, because what you might not understood quite nicely, AMD is not forcing those chips because those chips cannibalize their own chips for multi GPUs. As you might see, there is no motherboard which is using PLX chips to support 7 to 8 graphic cards. Why? Because it would be much cheaper to put the Threadripper, put very nice motherboard and put the water cooling, and in fact you don't need the whole server, let's say almost old, like from 5 years ago. You don't need whole server rack. This, I don't know what's the name, I forgot. So you don't need the whole wall of servers. Now you just need Threadripper and 7 cards. And when RTX is right now moving forward in rendering, and so many cores can be just bought in one CPU, this is a huge change. So I hope you understood what I mean, that this is a great market change. It is, because for now we are able to achieve almost the same computing power 9 times cheaper. And I will build probably machine like that, and I will show you what is it all about, and hopefully you will understand that marketing is not the thing that you have to look for. Please look for results in applications that you are using. If you are in a very narrow group of scientists which can use and utilize AVX 512, maybe you are good to go for Intel, and you have to pay the price if you want to achieve the results as fast as you can. But in fact, if you are a rendering artist, or you are a standard even scientific user, AVX 256 is totally sufficient. And the same system is with Threadrippers, and it is ADX. And please be aware that you have to check benchmarks of CPUs in your demands. So it would be nice to have the benchmark of your program, and then choose your hardware wisely. Do not overpay. People were overpaying for Intel for many years, and Intel was not playing quite nicely for AMD. Now AMD is back on the track, and I'm very happy for them, and I hope they will do even much more better work with creating new technologies. Thank you very much for your attention, and have a nice life. Because I don't know, night, day, or anything. Bye bye. Ciao.